Welcome back to Attention Paddock. Can you believe this is season 3? And as you can probably tell, we're on Douglas Head in the Isle of Man. So our first rider is a Manxman. He's young, he's talented, and he's keen. So you may ask, what does the up-and-coming TT star do for a living? He runs a bike shop with his family, and he's got a coffee machine, I think. Come on. Hey, up to here. Hard at work, look. Hey, up Nathan, how you doing? You all right? Head of security. So Nathan, this is really the first time I've sat down with you. I've done a lot of these for RST, and it's normally somebody who I know really quite well because they're a bit older than you, to be fair. So I've done a little bit of research. I know we have done. But I asked a lot of people, you know what they said? Every one of them. What a nice lad he is.
Well, that's very nice of them.
They also said, you like talking.
I don't stop talking.
So that's perfect.
I ask 1,000,001 questions all the time.
So we'll talk about what you've got going on this year in a bit. But I want to do a bit of digging, how you kind of got to this point. I know your dad anyway. Your dad raced at a reasonable level. It's a bike family completely, which some aren't.
Yeah.
So you were really born to race. Your brother raced. And you're from the Isle of Man, and so your passion is road racing and especially the Isle of Man racing. But how did it sort of all start for you?
So obviously my dad was always racing, and then I always used to love going to the bikes with my dad, and I always had a genuine interest in it. And then when I got to the age of 5, I was begging my mum and dad for a motocross bike. That's all I was interested in. Joey Dunlop, that I can remember it now. I used to love the video clip of him going straight down. It's like, you know, the hedges in Northern Ireland. It was down there, and he was straight down there, and then there was a farmer chasing after him on a tractor, and that's all I was obsessed with. And then obviously they could see that that's all I wanted to do is race motorbikes. So my dad begged my mum, and there was a classifieds board in the local Onken co-op, and my dad went to my mum and said, please can I get him this motocross bike for his 5th birthday? And obviously we're a bit, you know what it's like with your mum, they don't really want you to do it. But yeah, no, they managed to wiggle that. I woke up on my 5th birthday, and they give me the gear first. So I opened it, I was like, what am I going to do with this? And then as I got outside, there was a 50 KTM waiting for me, and spent the day riding around the garden, my dad chasing after me.
And the road racing bit came from the fact that your dad's done some road racing, and you're in the Isle of Man, and you kind of, unlike a lot of the other people who spoke to, Australians, English, Irish, Scottish, you live it because you're here. So that would it be a natural set for you?
Definitely. I never, obviously, like a lot of young kids nowadays say they want to be a MotoGP champion, I want to be a World Superbike champion, whereas to me, I just want to win a TT.
Yeah.
But like you say, from the minute of being able to know what the TT was, I've been like a massive John McGuinness fan. It's all I've lived for. I'd run home. My dad was a travelling marshal as well, so my granddad would take me out to watch the bikes at night, and I'd be sat at the top of the drive. I'd be waiting for him to pick me up, and we would go watch the races or go up the grandstand, and I'd be chasing everyone around for an autograph and everything else. And as soon as TT come in school, all I was looking forward to was getting out of school to watch the TT. And I think that's where it comes from. Like you say, it's on my doorstep, and there's nothing like it, is there? It's incredible.
You can't just go and ride around the TT course. You've got to do some kind of racing. Was it all over here, or did you race in England?
Well, so weirdly, over here they had a strange rule where you had to be 13 to ride a road bike, where in the UK you could be 12. So I actually had to spend my first year going away.
This is mini bikes?
This is actually, I started off doing motocross racing.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so I did schoolboy motocross racing first. We went to, obviously, the local schoolboy rounds. I was like the champion of the 50 cc's, but my eyes were just set sights on going road racing.
Yeah.
But obviously there's a minimum age limit, so that was 12. And then as I got to the age of 12, that's when I had to travel away to go to do the Aprilia Super Teens Championship. And mainly most of my racing was traveling backwards and forwards to the UK. People
assume because you're from the Isle of Man and the TT is really high profile, that somehow you get it easy, but actually it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Because you've got to do most of your racing to get to the point at which you can go quick around the TT over even in England or the continent.
Definitely, and especially living on the Isle of Man, obviously back then it was school, now it's work. So you've got school or work all weekend, and you've got to get the late boat out, because obviously my mum and dad were working as well to get to the UK. Then obviously you got to do your business, and then the overnight boat on the Sunday night was always a dread, because obviously my mum and dad weren't lenient. They thought if I was going racing motorbikes I could go to school, so I'd get the overnight boat on Sunday night into Monday morning, get off at 6 o'clock, get my breakfast, have a shower, and straight after school, off you go. Like you say, people don't realise that as well, being on the Isle of Man, it's actually a lot bigger challenge. I'm lucky enough to be supported by the steam packet now, which is good, but beforehand, obviously, when I was growing, it's a big, massive extra cost as well.
How did you get on at school then? I'm assuming not so well on a Monday morning.
Yeah, I used to get sent with a Lucozade and a bacon bath. But no, it was good. To be fair, my mum and dad said you've got to do your schoolwork. School were really good with me, to be fair, in certain instances of obviously giving me the time off to go racing. But obviously, if I didn't behave at school, I wouldn't have got my bikes out of school. Can
you remember your first lap on closed roads around the TT? Because unlike a lot of the people from anywhere else, you would know it intimately, not just because you've been over on a road bike for a day or two, or a hire car a couple of times. You would know it.
Yeah, so it's weird that you say that. So I do remember it really well. It was the Manx Grand Prix in 2018, and it was my first newcomer's lap. And I got to like Snugborough, and I was like thinking to myself, like, this isn't right, because obviously I'm used to driving on them roads all the time, 30 miles an hour, and I'm screaming through. I'm screaming through Snugborough. I'm like, this just shouldn't be allowed. It's just mental. And I was going halfway through the lap. Then obviously everything starts to, your nerves, your adrenaline, it starts to like calm down a little bit. So I started to settle in. By the time I got to the mountain, I was starting to feel my way into it. But at first, because I never actually rode properly like that down there, it was just, it was a crazy feeling. And
actually, when I think about what you're saying, somebody who comes across to do the TTs all about the racing, they learn that.
Yeah.
They have no pre-knowledge of it.
Yeah.
You actually spent a lot of your time going around pottering, going to places, not even thinking that it's a racetrack, which is...
That's the weird thing, because like you say, I'm used to driving. I go home from my lunch from work now, and I drive past the grandstand, or I might go nip to get something, and it's, like you say, you're doing 30 miles an hour, but as soon as everything shuts, all the race furniture's up, do you know what I mean? And like now, in a winter's day, it's like derelict. And then, but like you say, come June when the sun's shining and everything's race ready, and then you go down there an extra 100 miles an hour, it's completely different.
Did it feel like a privilege to you? Because I've heard people say both ways. Some people say it was a shock and they were a little bit sort of overawed with it, a little bit frightened of it, that you were still allowed to do this kind of thing. When you said you can't believe you're going through Snugborough, it's fast, perhaps 160, 170, and you couldn't believe you could do that. That's quite a common thing.
Yeah.
But that goes two ways. That can either go, I can't believe we're allowed to do this in a negative way.
Yeah.
But actually, a lot of people say it's a big smile on the face, because if it can't believe we're allowed to do this.
Yeah. No, mine's definitely that way. Like you say, there's nothing like it, is there? Do you know what I mean? You name something better than that in the world, that you can just shut a road for 37 miles and just go full hole. Do you know what I mean? And it's like a privilege to be able to do it, because if you wanted to go and set that up in Yorkshire, for example, say I want to shut 37 miles of road.
They'll laugh at you.
Yeah, they go, good one. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, next joke. But to still have that, and like say on the Isle of Man, it's just a unique opportunity to have, and anybody that can do it is a lucky person.
Were your dad and because your brother raced before you, brother Glenn's a little bit older than you, yeah?
Yeah, he's 6 years older than me.
Yes, he's quite a bit older than you.
So what happened there was I had a 50cc, and my brother was dead into football, and so he was actually skipped my brother. I started, and he was like dead into. He started to get a feel for it. He was like seeing me going racing, doing motocross and everything else. And then he obviously went, oh, I'd like a bike. I'd like to try it. And then that's how my brother stemmed from there then. But obviously, because my brother was older, he did the Manx Grand Prix a lot earlier, 2012, I think it was. And then that's obviously where my brother then moved on to. And then he had a couple of kids and his kind of stuff.
For you, this is, it's kind of living the dream stuff, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. To be where I'm at now, at my age in my career, obviously I've had some turbulent times recently, but 24 years old, getting a call from factory Honda team to ride for them, it's a boyhood dream, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? To be joining John McGuinness as well, somebody that I've looked up to. I've got a picture of John in 2006. Yeah, and
was he a letdown when you first met him or not?
To be fair, he was good. Yeah, I've got plenty of John McGuinness posters, and he signed them all, so I can't knock him for that. But yeah, no, to have that all come together so early in my career, and hopefully, like you say, that's just the start of it, and hopefully the progression can just carry on moving upwards, and I can be a John McGuinness. We sat with a nice backdrop of your bike. That's your Manx
winning bike. They were a good old tool then, weren't they?
Yeah, 2019.
Such a good bike.
Junior and senior, I won the Manx Grand Prix. That was like kind of my stepping stone. That was the start of the Honda era for like our private family team as well.
Yeah.
The chassis and everything on a CBR 600 didn't change for years, and it was winning TTs year in, year out.
It doesn't need too many different, does it?
No,
you're still good.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing that's like slowing down now is the engine. With like recent times when the other manufacturers come good, but Honda brought out a new one again this year, which looks like it could be competitive.
So tell me, that bike now is retired and displayed. So when you've got your big house, you've won all your TTs. That's going to take pride of place, is it?
Exactly. No, it took a bit of convincing to my dad mind. After the junior race, I obviously won the junior race. That's the first race in the Manx Grand Prix. I had all my flies. I took the fairings off and got the spare set out and put them on. And he goes, "What are you doing?"
Flies.
And I said, "I've got to keep them for flies." He goes, "You can get lost." He said, "Them fairings are 400 quid. Get that for fairings clean and get using them in the senior race." So I thought, I'm gonna have to go and win again now and try and
get another set of flies.
So after the senior race, I said to him, "Surely you got to let me keep them now." And he, like you say, he said after that, he said to me, he goes, "You can have them and you can keep it as is." But we've kept the fairings, kept the bike as it is, and he's not said anything else. So hopefully,
that's a good thing.
Yeah,
honestly, even if you don't think it at the time, which you obviously did a little bit.
Yeah.
But looking back, 10 years hence from now, you're going to look back and say, and it'll mean even more to you.
It will.
So having the stuff that you had, your leathers or whatever.
Yeah.
I've got some of my old race bikes, and the flies from short circuits.
Yeah.
From my time on short circuits, you would never worry about flies or a ding or a particular mark that you can remember doing. But the Isle of Man's weird, and everybody who's got TT wins says exactly the same.
Yeah.
You'll say, like John will say, "Oh, yeah, I've still got my old, 15 winning bike, flies and everything."
Yeah.
The flies,
weirdly,
the flies are...
It's an iconic thing. You can't go, obviously on a summer's day, right, maybe around Brands Hatch, you might get a few flies, but there's nowhere that you can, you come in and you've done a practice session, and like you say, your shoulders are caked in it. You might have the odd bird feather. If you're being unlucky, your bike's caked in it, stone chips. You know what I mean? That's the iconic thing of like the TT course. And like you say, and when you, like what you said, when you look back, that fly or that stone chip, you'll remember it in some kind of way. Flies
mean a lot to John.
Yeah.
I think mine were mostly on the inside of the screen, actually.
Yeah.
Last year I didn't really go according to plan. Quite a difficult year for a lot of reasons, wasn't it?
Yeah. So obviously, as a family, it was a tough year. It was my big breakthrough year. We'd done all the graft as a family team, doing top 10 in my first senior TT and all that in 2022, and then obviously getting that dream call up. And then obviously my mum fell ill with cancer, and it'd been happening over time, but it did take a big dip as I signed for Honda typically, and obviously timing just wasn't right, but we tried to do everything I could, and I had a good a good start to a Northwest 200. I was in the top 10 there. I started obviously a Superstock race on the Thursday night, and I was running 5th, having a good battle with John Rutter and James Hillier, and then come out of, I think it was the second to last lap, come out of church and had a high side, which then broke my collarbone and my wrist, had a bad concussion, and that reeled me out of my TT.
Yeah.
But not even just before that, like I kind of, when I look back now, Harv and my dad were looking out for me. I was trying everything I can, as you do as a racer, to try and be fit. I'd got my dream to ride for Honda, and I was trying everything I can do to be fit. But then in the meantime, like 6 days after the Northwest, I lost my mum.
Yeah.
So I think when I look back now, I think everything happened for a reason. It wouldn't, when...
Do you know what I think? I think you're exactly right, because you didn't hurt yourself too bad at the Northwest. It was it's a racing crash, and you had some racing injuries, right? You were going to recover.
Yeah.
But actually, would you have been in a good place that year's TT with a little bit of pressure on you, having lost your mum?
Exactly. And that's exactly what my dad and Harv were trying to tell me at the time. Obviously, I'm young and I was eager for the opportunity, but it could have gone completely wrong in more ways than one. Not even just it was my head right. Do you know what I mean? My head would have, if I took a split second thinking about my mum, it's not the place to do it. And then even if I tried to ride with an injury as well, I had that chance to ride for Honda and messed it up, and then you go backwards, don't you? Do you know what I mean? If I come back and finish 25th on a factory Honda, they go, "What's he playing at?" Do you know what I mean? They don't think, "Oh, he's got a broken collarbone," or "He's just lost his mum." They just care about, exactly. So, and from there onwards, it's made me a better rider in general, because I've missed the TT, I missed my the dream chance of riding for Honda. Obviously, it is coming back again, but the second part of the season, I built up. We went and did a load of track days on my own bike and got my strength back up, and then I ended up finishing the year in the top 10 in British Superstock, which Superstock is a fast class.
Yeah, it's a really competitive class actually.
And like you say, there's everything else, and like you say now, I've said it, I've got my mum on my shoulders riding around with me, so it should be good, and I'm putting more effort into this next year than I ever have done.
You know what John McGuinness, I've known John a long time, and I see quite a lot of John. And when you first signed for Honda before the Northwest last year, and you got to know John in testing and that, and obviously you had posters of him on your wall. And I said, "What's it like?" He goes, "Lovely, but very keen."
Yeah, I think he called me like a policeman. I don't, as you'll probably gather, I don't stop asking questions. And I've always been the same ever since I was young. If you don't ask questions, you don't know, do you? Yeah. And Dave next door, he used to own a bike shop, and he actually works for us now in our new bike shop. And he said when I was younger, I used to feel like telling you to piss off, but he said I couldn't because you're that keen and young and you just wanted to know everything. He said I couldn't, but he said if I asked you that question now, you'd know the answer because I'm like, I just remember everything. So like when we were in testing, John, obviously I didn't really know anything about a superbike because I never rode a superbike, and he'd be changing like braces and stuff on the frame. And I'd be like, what does that do? And he'd be like, it just does this. And then he'd obviously tell me. And then he'd be like, and I'd be like, why? And then I'd ask it about a million questions about that one little thing. And he'd be like, and he'd just say, are you a policeman? You don't stop asking bloody questions.
He says he wants to know everything. That's a positive thing, to be honest, because like you said, if you don't ask, and there's no better person to ask than John, because John always have time. The only thing John's always said to me is, not just with you, but with younger riders is, and this is a TT thing. And a little bit the roads in general, but especially TT, you've got to let people learn their own way. You've got to you can give them a little bit of advice, but you've got to let them get on with their own way, because this is a thing that you can't do on somebody else's sort of back. You need to be in control of yourself around here.
And that's kind of what he said to me as well this year. He said this year we'll make sure you get to the Northwest 200. But like you say, that was all a learning curve. Like I said, everything happened for a reason with that. But I now know that whatever happened in 2023 is going to make me a better person in 2024, because it's all lessons learned at a young age, you know what I mean? And when I get to like John's age, I can say, oh, I wouldn't do that there. Like to myself, I wouldn't do that there because that bit me then. Do you know what I mean? It is right. But no, it is good having John as a teammate. He's all that experience he's got, and he never does, even like you say, no matter how many questions I ask him, he always has an answer for me.
He'll put up with it. Do you know, although you've won a couple of them, you haven't actually got that many laps under your belt on closed roads around here. Not like you'd think. Some people have got more in one TT than you've done in all your experience around here.
Well, that's what I was saying. So like the TT now, the way that they look after the newcomers and everything else, especially like last year when the weather was absolutely beautiful for 2 weeks. My first Manx Grand Prix, I think I did 7 laps.
Total?
Total. The weather was in practice week was like horrible because obviously it was August. The newcomers race I was leading and the engine blew up.
Yeah, but early on, 1 lap.
1 lap. So that was 1 lap, and then I managed to get a senior race in. And then the following year, the Manx Grand Prix, when I did my double race, I think I did 8 practice laps, and then the junior race got cut to 3 because of weather, and then I did a 4-lap senior race. So again, it's not even 20 laps in the Manx Grand Prix. Whereas like if you're a newcomer in TT 2023, just gone, you probably would have been sat there at the end of practice week thinking, do I need to do any more laps? Well, you know what I mean?
The big thing this year, I was over here with the trail bike just having a bit of a look round, and what everybody's saying this year, or this last year, 23, was too many laps. Wearing engines out, wearing tyres out, just costing money. Just going round and round pouring petrol in, you know. Yeah,
especially towards the end of the week, because you want to be ready for you got a superbike race 6 laps, haven't you, to start with?
You
want to be physically fit as well, don't you? And you've burnt yourself out in practice week. I know you do all the training, but there's nothing like the TT course, is there? And it's mentally and physically draining. So to get that many laps in is, like you say, it's good to start with, but I'm sure they would have been everybody would have been feeling it towards the end of it.
You're a Manxman, and you're doing the TT, you're on a factory bike, and you work in a bike shop, or you own a bike shop. Have you got extra pressure for that? Do people know you are and actually expect? Do you think there's a bit of an expectation thing?
I don't really know, to be honest. To be fair, pressure, I never really let pressure get. I don't even think about it, if you know what I mean. I just literally, because I with the bike shop we've just built as a family business now. It's just in its finishing stages, but we've done that after everything that's happened. We obviously had a previous business, and that's gone now, and it's an interest to us, isn't it? So this is just the side of it where we can have fun, help people with their motorbikes, sell some gear, some RSC stuff, and Yeah, that side of it is, I like having a focus in life. So I like going to work every day. I don't like not having a job, or that keeps me focused away from the bikes. And it also keeps your mind off thinking about bikes too much. Because obviously if you're thinking of going to Brands Hatch this weekend, or I've got the Northwest next weekend, if you're at work, you're constantly busy, you fit your training in around it. And do you know what I mean? You constantly focus, your mind's constantly thinking about stuff. Whereas, like you say, if you're sat at home, you might let pressure get to you, thinking, oh, buddy, I'm riding the Honda this year at the TT and I'm a Manxman. But whereas to me, I feel like I like kind of thrive off it. I like kind of think if I can.
Well, that's what happens. It either goes one way or another. Some people love it. Some people can't handle it.
Yeah.
And actually, if you're the type who is happy with it, and it gives you a little bit of a sort of spring in your step, that's a good thing.
There's nothing like in my first TT when I got in the top 10 on our own little private team. When obviously when you're a Manx person, as soon as you go around the hedges, you see the arms waving and everything, and that just gives you that extra bit of motivation to keep on going. Do you know what I mean? And I don't see it as pressure; I just see it as support. And like you say, when you're on that sick flap, and that senior race was like 45-mile-an-hour winds, and it was a hell of a ride, to be fair. And like when you're coming down the Craig, and you even got marshals waving at you because there's local marshals. You know what I mean? They're just giving you that G up, and it's just, I think, to be fair, I use it as an advantage because somebody from Australia isn't going to have the same kind of support, not in the wrong way, but do you know what I mean? They're not going to have like a
ton of people coming over. Although there is quite a lot of bodies coming out.
But like you say, there's that many people from school, people that I've known from work, people, just friends, family. Do you know what I mean? There's that many people around there. And even just a Manxie that wants to support a fellow Manxie.
A Manxie.
Yeah.
How was your dad when you won your Manx Grand Prix? Because I know your dad is quite understated. He don't get excited about much.
No, he's, to be fair to my dad, because he's done it all himself, obviously in life you get like a racer dad, don't you, that's not done anything.
Push you.
And they go out, you better win this, you better win that. Whereas my dad, when I won the Manx Grand Prix, literally we were setting off and he come up to me and goes, tap me on the back, he goes, have fun and enjoy yourself. And I'm thinking, I want to go out and win this race. And but it's the way, obviously he knows, because that's a calming influence, isn't it? So he goes off thinking, I'm calm. And to be fair, it does calm me, because I'm like, have fun and enjoy yourself. And the senior race in the Manx Grand Prix, and same with the TT, because it was that windy, I just wasn't in the I couldn't get into the groove of it. And I come into the first pit stop and I was like, I can't get my head into this. And he's like, stop then. Do you know what I mean? He's like, come on then, there's no point doing it. And I was like, no, because I'm thinking of, especially the TT, I think I've got another year to wait. It's turned out it's going to be 2 now, but I'm glad I did do it. So I was like, no, I'll try another 2 laps. And then they come in and he was like, how are you? And I was like, I'm getting there now. I'm starting to get into it. I was like, I'll give it these last 2 laps a good go. And he was like, as long as you're sure. Do you know what I mean? Whereas some people would be like,
pushing,
go on, get going. Don't you get, you know what I mean? Yeah. But it's that, I think when you've got that calm and influence, it helps you as well. Do you know what I mean? And I think because he's done it all himself, he's been there, he knows exactly what it's like to go around the TT course. And
that's what my point about that would be. He knows the pitfalls. If you do this is a place if you've done it, you would never shove somebody on, I don't think.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like that, but you know, like a lot of my mates are still racing here. Some of the daft old gits like John McGuinness. And he'll never say, at Cadwell you say, go on, you can win this.
Yeah.
But actually, Isle of Man, you just say.
Yeah. Like you say, when you come off at Cadwell, you know, you can still hurt yourself relatively bad, do you know what I mean? But the TT, if you have an argument with a wall,
exactly,
especially a Manx stone one,
you've got to be, your head's got to be right. You don't want somebody putting a rock up your backside here.
And like what you said before about when John said you learn yourself, it's the same principle as in terms of speed. You get comfortable at your own speed, you know what I mean? You don't go out there, if you go out there scratching, you'll come in and your lap time will be 10 mile an hour off. When you get everything flowing and smooth,
especially here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the lap time comes on its own. Do you know what I mean? And but yeah, no, that's with my dad. He is like being a big part of my racing. Without him and my mum, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Well, we've been chatting about flowing a little bit. Do you want to flow off and we'll go and get some dinner?
Sounds good.
Lovely. Where are we going? You got a cafe in mind?
Could go to the Victory Cafe if you like.
Yeah,
it's on the bungalow.
I'll do. It's a typical Manx winter day. Beautiful and clear, but flipping freezing. We're halfway up Snaefell. It's getting real, isn't it?
Certainly is.
Shall we get a cup of tea and talk about it?
Let's go.
Go on, lad. So Nathan, we sat in the Victory Calf on the top of today fairly bright but fairly windswept mountain next to the A18. So prep for this year, how's it going? I know last year was a sort of spoiled prep, but this year everything looking good?
Yeah, obviously last year's made me more determined than ever to make this year successful. I've just been doing my own business, been doing my training, a lot of cycling, a lot of gym work, and keeping my head down, setting up a new business as well. And yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this year. We've been testing in Spain already on my own superstock bike, and heading back out with Honda in a couple of weeks on the new 2024 blade, which I'm really looking forward to.
The Isle of Man's a little bit different in that you talked about your physical training, but actually a 24-year-old kid who pretty physically kind of young and strong and fit anyway, how much should the Isle of Man, and it always used to be, certainly for me, a little bit more of a kind of mental training than anything else. You've got to get your head into a space that...
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of it now is mentally preparing yourself. When you get to like this 5th, 6th lap of the TT, if you telling yourself that, oh, I'm blowing out, can't go on any longer, I can't do this, I can't do that, you've got to be physically and mentally fit, because like you say, mentally, if you could be physically fit, but mentally, if you tell yourself you're not, you're over. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, mentally wise, like you say, I just make sure I'm surrounded with positive things, and like you say, positive people, and the job will be a dream.
Clearly you live for this. A little part of you thinks that this is what you're born for. Do you get nervous, or is it all positive anticipation, or is there a part of you that thinks this is
I think if somebody told you they were starting the TT race, they weren't nervous or didn't get any nerves, I think they'd be lying, because
I'd agree with you.
Yeah, there's no chance that you don't get nervous. All the way up into it, like the week before, I don't get any nerves. I'm just excited. Do you know when you're seeing the sponsor banners going up around the course? Obviously, I get to see it because I'm here early. You see the Recticel going out. Like you say, we're up here on the mountain now today, and it's like a winter's day. But in 3 months' time, it's completely different. And when you see all of that happening, and you see it all it just gets you excited. Like last year, my girlfriend will probably tell you, we were driving past the grandstand. I can't remember where we'd been, but my arm was in a sling. I seen the trucks arriving, and that there was like, I think that was the worst point I was probably at, when I seen them trucks arriving, and I was like, that's not going to be...
Because you should have been part of that.
Yeah. And then that was probably the worst bit. But that first morning when you go to sleep the night before, luckily I get to go home, and you think, I want to go down Bray Hill tomorrow, and start thinking about it a little bit. But the minute you wake up and you think, a few hours time, I'm going to be flat out down Bray Hill.
Well, I'm just going to say, going down Bray Hill's one thing.
Yeah.
Going down just stuck in 6th gear, at best part of 190 miles an hour is quite a different thing.
Yeah. It's that. To be fair, when people say, does it anywhere like scare you or anything around the TT course, I wouldn't say it scares me, but the bit that I think is probably the most sketchiest bit around the TT course is from the top of Bray Hill to the bottom of Bray Hill and over Aggo's Leap, because it's obviously, when you see it on the telly, it might not look the same, but you know better than anyone, it's
Steep.
Like that. Yeah. And then when you hit the bottom of it, like you say, 6th gear on a flying lap, and you hit the compression when you hit the bottom of Bray Hill, and the whole thing bottoms out, it just feels like you like suck to the ground and then shoot back out again. It's like you're getting sucked in a pipe and back out. But yeah, no, it's something that can't be replicated anywhere, isn't it?
Do you keep coming back to I can tell the way you're talking now, you keep coming back to this. You still think it's a very special thing that you're being, I won't say allowed to do, but you are able to do.
Anybody can ride a bike round Alton Park, can't they? They can buy a track day ticket, or they can go and drive a car around Donington Park. Do you know what I mean? But nobody can say, oh, can you just shut that road for me for 37 miles? And all that build up to get to it, all that like club racing, then mountain course signatures, and then having the experience to go and do it. You got to have money behind you nowadays. You got to have good sponsors. And I've been lucky that everything has come from family, sponsors, all that, to make that dream possible. And now I'm living the dream, and it's as easy as that.
I always think that, it's a long time since I've ridden the TT. However, I can watch them going off the start, and that long queue of riders waiting the turn, all getting a little bit more nervous. And every time a bike goes, you're a bit more nervous because you're a bit nearer for your turn. And I just think anybody, no matter how far back they are, they've still been through a hell of a process to get to that point. Like you said, they've got to go and get an ACU license. Many people won't even do that to go and race at Donington.
Yeah.
Never mind then to get a national license, and then get a roads license, and then get everything together, and perhaps do without other things in their life, like an holiday or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So anybody who's setting off down that road, I think I'll take my cap off to you, sir.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, the thing is as well, the thing that I'm lucky with, obviously, I'm not lucky going to like BSB to do my Superstock 1000, but being here, that's one expense that I don't have. I've got my house. So another thing that adds into all the costs for even like, especially like a privateer, is they've got to take a minimum 3 weeks off work. They've got to find somewhere to stay, food for 3 weeks. Do you know what I mean? It's not like when you go to Brands Hatch and you rock up on a Thursday and you're back home on a Sunday night. It's a big expense.
Commitment, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a commitment. So I always say, whoever's first to last, they're still putting in the same commitment to be there, and they're still putting their neck on the line, aren't they?
You don't come across as a superstitious person, to be honest. How are you for that? You don't seem like you've got any superstitions. Do you do anything a certain way? Or?
Yeah. The only thing I'd say I really do a certain way is I do have like a rigmarole of the way I put my boots and my gloves on. I always make sure I put my right boot on first and my right glove on first. But it's not like I think it's just because I've always done it. And then like nowadays, obviously since last year, I just give my mum a little like, let's go and get it kind of thing and look after me. And that's about it. I'm like I say, I'm not full on superstitious, but that's just like a little chat. And obviously, yeah, that's probably about it.
So you're ready physically. You're very prepared mentally. You know what it's about. You're not taking on anything you don't know. There's going to be a certain amount of pressure on you this year. I'm thinking you're a new boy to a team. It's the first year. You've had a contract for over a year, but it's your first time you've ridden for a factory team, essentially.
Yeah.
Is the pressure coming from your head, not anybody
Not really.
else?
I'm literally just going to go, especially now Dean's joined us.
How you getting on with Dean?
I've got him with Dean for yeah. He's been like a family friend for a number of years now. Since I did my first Manx Grand Prix, he used to sneak off, and my mum would make him a cup of Yorkshire tea, and he was he's a great lad. But now Dean's joined the team. There's obviously John. That's two big names in the team. Whereas I'm hoping now, to be fair, Honda have told me they're going to treat this year effectively as what, like you just said, it last year. So it's going to be my first year as Honda racing kind of thing, because everything that went on. And obviously with Dean and John there, Dean's going to be obviously not putting Dean under pressure, but he's there. He's going to be doing results. He's a podium man at every race, and he's a senior TT winner. And I think them two big names in the team, I'm hoping I can just slip under and just do I'm not somebody that likes to go around saying, oh, I'm going to do 130 this year, I'm going to do 136 next. I just like to keep everything close to my chest and just go out, do my business, and then at the end of it, if I'm happy, I'll say my goal was X. And but yeah, I'm hoping just slip under the radar, do my business in practice week, and then come race day, I'll be ready and hopefully see what I can do.
All that said, you definitely got to go over 130 mile an hour this year.
I'd like to hope so, but I'm not saying nothing.
Right, just concentrate a minute now. You're in the paddock, you've got your kit, you're about to go racing, it's a senior, it's good weather, and that hideous klaxon thing goes off like saying, wah, an Attention Paddock. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, you have like a bit like what I've just done there, you have like a bit of a sigh. To be fair, I don't eat too much before I go out. I do eat, but I just make sure I've like had something to eat beforehand, have a squares bar or something, bit of energy, have a drink, and yeah, basically I just make sure I'm fully ready. And then as soon as I head up, I just, like you say, I just stay out the way a little bit, just take it in. I just take it in and just think, right, now's the time, you got to do it. And yeah, I don't know, it's a hard thing to put in the thing, but you can't experience what that's like until you hear that noise, and it's just, everything just seems to like go, everything around you seems to go like blank, if you know what I mean. And
yeah.
You're as soon as that happens and you're heading up there, you're just fully focused on what's going to happen, like the job ahead.
Well done, lad.
Thank you. Thank you.